Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a look at r/am I the bort hole. So if you would like to judge some big old gaping bort holes with me, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. So, first post posted by Low Affection 3866. Am I the bort hole for breaking up with my girlfriend when her kid called me names and she didn't tell him to knock it off? My ex-girlfriend Heather and I are both teachers. I'm 48 and she's 34. We got together when I was 44 and she was 30. I've known her son since he was 11. I have no biological children, just getting the facts out the way. I've had a polite relationship with the son for the 4 years I've known him. He's a good kid and I think he'll be a good man. His biological father, Dan, is a waste of skin. He is 35. He was also a student of mine. This is important. Dan met Heather when they were away at college in a different city from where I have spent my entire career. Dan Jr. wasn't really a problem for most of our relationship. His dad was, and is, a jerk, but not more than most. Then Heather and I started talking about getting married. All of a sudden, he started mouthing off and misbehaving, saying stuff like that I couldn't replace his dad. He was confrontational. I'm a teacher. I've seen many kids go through this. I talked to Heather about getting him some therapy. I also suggested family therapy. She has seen this in her students too. He should know what he needs. Just after Christmas break, he started calling me a paedophile. That's the kind of thing that could end my career. I talked to Heather about it, but she said he was just working through his emotions. I said I understood that he was angry and confused, but that some words could lead to severe consequences. She refused to see my position. I brought it up in counselling and she still defended Dan Jr. That kid said it again in therapy. He said I could have been her teacher when she was in elementary school. Well, that is technically true. I never met her until she was 30. She was a whole damn adult with a child. Yeah, I mean, that is so true. It would be a bit different if she was like one of OP's students once upon a time. But yeah, like this kid throwing around those kind of accusations, he knows what he's doing. Like he knows. That is something that you just don't throw around baselessly. Like that is a dangerous accusation to make. I can't take any chances with my job. I broke up with her and moved out. She thinks I'm overreacting. Her folks think we just need to slow down and give her kid a chance to catch up. I miss her, but like I said, I can't have that word around me, and she couldn't control her kid. Am I being an asshole? No, not at all. This could be a career-ending thing. Like, this is not something you want to have, being shouted out about you when you literally are a teacher. Like, no, I would have been out of that as well, personally. I'd have just been like, yeah, this is too much. I cannot take that risk. And also, even if you weren't a teacher, why would you want to keep yourself in a situation where you're being called those things when it's not true? I don't blame the OP for going, yeah, that. So, down in the comments, Neither Solid 6573 says, not the butthole. Emotions aside, both Junior and his mum need to understand the severity and heaviness of that accusation. You're protecting yourself and the career you've built. I wouldn't expect a kid to innately get that words can have severe consequences, but mum seems like she's not willing to teach that lesson. You're putting yourself out there, and in marriage, you'd be stepping into a father-like role. It seems like mum might not be as serious as you are. I also wonder how often Dan Jr. sees his father, and if he's maybe putting those ideas and words in his head. I did wonder that too, I'm not gonna lie. It's shocking that mum is also an educator. I mean, I'm not being funny though. I know that this commenter says, maybe it's because mum is not as serious as the OP is about the relationship. It could just be the OP's girlfriend is one of those parents that thinks the sun shines out their kid's backside. They can do no wrong, and they're very reluctant to take any action of any form of punishment against them. And yeah, even teachers that are parents can be like that with their own kids. There is no end to the excuses some people will give for their kids' behaviour. So then Leak Altruistic 65000 says he's 15. He knows that accusing someone of being a pedo ain't gonna lead to anything good. And then Paul the Bubbly says, yep, he knows exactly what he's doing at that age. Fine, he won. OP is out of the picture. Yeah, and that's the most annoying part of it though to me, is that kid is going to feel like they did win, and now they're going to think, oh, well, you know, I can just throw things like that around again if I ever need to get my own way. Which is a scary thought, and his mum really needs to open their eyes and see the bigger picture here. Next post, posted by HumanLab921. Am I the butthole for explaining the consequences of his actions to my son? My family lives in Canada. That is important. My kid was being bullied at school. He's a big kid and I have always told him to resolve his problems with words. I've told him to report bullying to teachers and if they don't listen, to tell the principal. Also to tell me and his mum so we can follow up. My son's after-school program is a Taekwondo class. Also important, he's been in Taekwondo since he was in kindergarten. He also plays hockey. There are a group of kids at his school that have been assholes to my kid and his friends. My kid did the right thing and told the teacher monitoring recess. She told him that the kids were new to Canada and that they didn't know how to fit in yet. He went to the principal and got told pretty much the same thing, so he told his mum. She wanted to go and confront the parents. That's exactly what I'm like. I'm like, okay, I'll go straight to the parents then. You won't do nothing? I'll do something, and you're probably not going to like how I'm going to handle it. And she likely would have ended up in custody. She's Irish, like real Irish, from Ireland, not Marky Mark Irish. I told her I would take care of it. I made an appointment to talk to the principal and teacher along with my son. I went into the meeting with a simple goal, to stop the bullying. The principal and teacher both tried the same excuse on me, that these kids were newcomers and they weren't fully aware of how Canada was different from their home country and what they saw on American TV. What an absolute cop-out. I asked what was being done to stop it. They said that they had talked to the boys. I asked if the parents had been brought in and talked to. He said no. Okay, so I turned to my kid and I explained that in Canada, kids under 12 years old cannot be charged with a crime. In fact, they can't even be arrested. Worst case scenario, if anything happened, he might have to do some community service. The principal and the teacher went crazy, telling me that I can't tell him that. I asked them if I was lying. They both shut up. I pointed to them and told my kid to remember that they didn't say I was wrong. I told him to tell me in a week if he was still being bullied. My understanding is that all the bullies' parents were called in and told to control their children. The bullies were also given library detentions instead of a recess for a month. I'm satisfied with the results, but the teacher and principal seemed upset. My wife thinks I should have given him the information privately. No, because there was a point to giving him the information in front of them. And I think the kid knew exactly what Dad was getting at as well. Like, this wasn't knowledge for the kid, really, was it? This was, I want to see you telling my kid this, because I want you to know that if you don't do something will happen and you're not going to like it. So then down in the comments, AmITheA6834 says, no, I think you did good by your son. You asked the appropriate questions, you asked that more be done, and when the school showed little to no willingness to step up, you informed your son that he could stand up for himself. More importantly, you put the school on notice without uttering a threat or a single word for that matter. And then the OP says, I would never. Oh, one of my cats has just made me look like the nosy bloody curtain twitcher of the street. So I was just sat here, like trying to find the next post, and I heard this crash come from my kids' room next door. So I went in, they're still fast asleep. The flipping cat has been in the windowsill and knocked out some books that they had in the windowsill. So I thought the cat was still in the windowsill, so I opened the curtain to have a look and be like, get out, basically. And just as I did that, bloody police car they were getting back in their car and like driving off. I don't know where they'd been. So now they're going to think that I was flaming nosy in, aren't they? It really wasn't. It was the bloody cat. Anyway, next post, posted by Real.6474. Am I the butthole for getting a woman fired over Veggie Tales? Okay. My wife and I unfortunately have our son in daycare. It's unavoidable. A few months ago, I picked him up, and when I asked him about his day, he told me about a show that they watched with cartoon vegetables. When I dropped him off the next day, I asked the teacher if they watched Veggie Tales. She said they didn't show the kids anything inappropriate. I asked, but did they watch Veggie Tales? She refused to give me a straight answer. I said I don't want him to watch Veggie Tales. She said he wasn't going to be allowed to watch anything inappropriate. What's wrong with Veggie Tales? That sounds like a kid's program to me. Is it not? I don't know. I've never heard of it. It sounds like a kid's program though. Please correct me if I'm wrong. That day when I got home, I asked, did you watch Veggie Tales? He did. I emailed the administration. They assured me, no Veggie Tales. It's not an approved media to show the kids. It has never and will never be shown. The next week, I asked, did you watch Veggie Tales? Yep. I reach out again and I'm told maybe my son is confused. Right. So I wait a week, ask my boss if I can leave early, walk past the receptionist, she told me to stop, but I didn't, into the main room, and boom, there it is, Veggie Tales. I took a picture, I was given a warning for barging in. Fair, but the administration promised the Veggie Tales thing would be solved. The teacher had to take all the tapes home and she would not be able to bring the tapes in ever again. Next week, did you watch Veggie Tales? No, Dad. Great. Following week, did you watch Veggie Tales? Yep. So I email again. At this point, I start getting other people involved. The Anti-Veggie Tales Coalition. Even some of the Christian parents were annoyed. One woman watches it at home with her daughter and said that she didn't want it watched at daycare because if her daughter has questions, she wants to be asked, not the teacher. Great, join the Anti-Veggie Tales Coalition. I'm dying to know what is so wrong with this kids show now, because I swear that sounds like a kids show. The resolution was that the teacher got fired. Now, there's a backlash against me. People feel bad, they feel guilty. It's all my fault. I pressured them into making it a big deal. They're just animated vegetables. Even my wife said I pulled a me and went on the warpath. Am I a butthole, or should I have just left her animated vegetables at home? I don't want to Google this, by the way, because I feel if I Google what is wrong with Veggie Tales, I'm gonna get some really weird answers. So yeah, I'm hoping the comments are gonna enlighten me. I am just now realising I never actually gave my thoughts on this one outside of what the hell is Veggie Tales and why is it so bad. But I think for this one, I don't think the OP is necessarily a butthole that they were annoyed that the nursery or childcare, whatever, was showing the kids something that they were saying they weren't. Because obviously you expect childcare providers to be completely transparent with, the content that kids are consuming whilst they're there, things that they're looking at. They should be being completely transparent. So, the childcare are in the wrong for being directly asked, are you showing my kid Veggie Tales? And them going, no, when they obviously absolutely were because they got caught out. The woman getting fired over it, I don't know where I sit on that, because I suppose there is an argument for, well, she's a childcare provider and she shouldn't be lying to parents about what she's showing the kids. So I do understand that, and I would agree with that. But obviously, I don't know what Veggie Tales really is. From all I can gather, it's a kids show, and I don't understand what's so wrong with it. So it really depends on that for a start. But like I say, there is definitely an argument there for, well, whether it's a bad show or a good show or whatever, the childcare providers should not be showing something to the kids that the parents have, one, said that they don't want them being shown, and two, that they themselves have said isn't being shown, and lying about it. That's concerning that they're so comfortable to lie about stuff. That would bother me as a parent. But yeah, I'm on the fence on this one, to be honest, because I can see an argument either way for that, if that makes sense. I think maybe her being fired was a little bit far. Maybe she should have been put on a warning perhaps first. I don't know. I would love to know what you all think on that one, to be fair. So, Charming Entrance 345 says, not the butthole. They said that your child wasn't watching Veggie Tales, but the teacher showed it numerous times after you were told it wasn't being shown. If they would lie about that, what else are they lying about? And then Smelling Like a Fairy says, she clearly wasn't watching it with them, or she'd know lying is bad. Bob and Larry would be very disappointed in her. Next post by Dry Dirt 1426. Am I the butthole for calling my husband silly for freaking out that our teenage son has a girlfriend who's in a wheelchair? Oh no. Yeah, possibly a trigger warning for ableism here, by the way, everyone. I don't like where this is going. My husband James, 37M, and I, 39F, have a son, Lucas, 13M, who is a freshman in high school. After the Christmas break, a new girl, Yuki, 14F, was in his class. I've heard Lucas and his friends talk about how Yuki is the prettiest girl in the school. By their talk, I didn't know she was in a wheelchair, just that she's from another country, is super cool, and super pretty. After Lucas mentioned he started dating Yuki, I found out she was in a wheelchair when I picked up my son from school. Lucas told his dad and showed what Yuki looked like by showing him her Facebook. My husband seemed okay with it. But later, with just me, my husband James expressed concern in our son dating a girl in a wheelchair, talking about how our son doesn't know what he's getting himself into and blah blah blah. I called my husband silly and he got mad at me. Am I the butthole? Yeah, no, definitely not overreacting in my opinion, or sorry, definitely not the butthole. I'm getting two separate subreddits mixed up here. Like, for a start, they're 13 and 14. It is a childhood relationship, and he's acting like his son is going to be, like, solely responsible for this girl's care because she's in a wheelchair. Which takes me on to the point of this feels a lot like ableism to me. Because just because someone's in a wheelchair or someone has a disability or a chronic illness or whatever, does not mean that they are incapable of living life to the fullest, you know? And I do feel like there is a hint of ableism in here. I really do. I don't know what else the problem would be because they're kids. Like a 13 and 14-year-old's relationship, let's be honest, is usually like not that serious, not that deep. You know, they're not going to be going and living together and making life choices together and whatever. And I mean, even if they were, and what? You know, if they were older, say if they were 18 and 19 and they were starting to get serious, what would be the problem? The only problem I can see here is that it is because of ableism. Like, you know, and I don't want to put words into the dad's mouth, but from an outside looking in perspective, I can't imagine what else the problem would be. It really is weird to me that he's so bothered by this, to be honest. But yeah, I would be very interested to see if you get the same read on that as I do, but that's just personally what I think about it. But yeah, he needs to chill out. They are kids at the end of the day, and if anything, it just shows that, you know, the son's a good person and Yuki's a good person. And they don't care about their differences to each other, as they shouldn't. It shouldn't matter so much. It really shouldn't. Anyway, down in the comments, Unlikely Branches says, my daughter has a significant disability and striking facial differences. When parents tell me that they had no idea because their kid only talked about how cool and nice she was, it's pretty heartwarming and a strong indicator the friends are kind, good people. Your son is one of those kind, good people. Be proud. Challenge your husband's perspectives on this. Yeah, exactly. And then the OP says, thank you for telling us. I'm happy to read that. I hope you and your daughter are happy. Edited to fix a typo. does remind me, that kids these days, on a whole, are a lot more accepting, aren't they, of people with differences and what have you, which I think is great. I think they should be, and they should have always been, but when I was at school, they absolutely were not for the most part. And it's not the same at all in any way, but it's just reminded me of a conversation that me and my eldest had the other day. My eldest has a friend at school. And they talk about them often and what have you. And the other day they said something about them not speaking a lot of English. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, you talk about them often. So how do you have these conversations? Because I'm not sure. Because I know that my child does not speak the language that this child speaks. So I was like, how do you communicate? Genuinely interested. And it's so cute what the friend group do to be able to communicate. They use Translate, like Google Translate, and translate in apps so that they can include them in conversations and so they can have clear, as clear as these translating apps allow them to have conversations. And obviously, as this kid's been there longer and longer, I think they started this academic year with them. They're learning more and more English as well from them. And I just thought that was so flipping cute. Okay, I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that is your initiation into the Covenant Void. Welcome. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.